Hello, I'm happy to be here to present the early results of the GEO work program mapping on behalf of our working group co-chairs. The work program mapping is aimed to identify gaps and potential opportunities for synergy among GEO work program activities to meet policy needs and also provide input to the next work program. This has been undertaken as a cross-working group effort among climate change, disaster risk reduction, capacity development since the end of 2020. Working group members designed the content, which was then turned into an agile mapping interface thanks to the technical support by Esri and AmeriGeo. The mapping interface contains 6 sections with questions on GEO work program activity identification, the scope and area of impact, and how the activity addresses climate action, disaster risk reduction, capacity development, as well as any additional feedback. The mapping was officially launched on the 31st of August through invitations to GEO work program leads. This is an example of what the mapping interface looks like. As you can see, we also have a dashboard that is facilitating the analysis of these results. The first question we asked in the mapping was to identify the geographic scope and the impact of the work of the activities. From this early analysis, we can say that there is a great potential for increased collaborations between regional GEOs and other thematic GEO work program activities. We foresee using this information to inform strategic engagement of regional GEO networks and GEO work program activities. The second observation is that about half of the current GEO work program activities are already working on all 3 GEO engagement priorities: the Paris Agreement, Sendai Framework, and the Sustainable Development Goals. Because of this, we see a great potential for more targeted cross-working group collaborations. Here are some initial results on the individual policy areas, starting with climate action. From the responses, it appears that while most activities are focused on climate action generally, the link between the GEO work program and the policy process can be improved. Only a few activities state that they actually provide input to the UNFCCC or Paris Agreement. However, upon further analysis, we see that many work program activities actually do provide EO data, information, or products that are relevant to numerous work streams under the UNFCCC and Paris Agreement. The main focus of the current work program seems to be climate adaptation. Now we have a better understanding of the number of activities contributing to climate action. Next steps will be to better understand current and potential impact and how they can be best delivering products and services that address our community needs. From the disaster risk reduction section, based on the results that have already come in, we see that DRR-related GEO work program activities have strong alignment with the Sendai framework, but need assistance establishing connections with DRR users. This assistance may include increased connections with DRR practitioners and encouraging the users to reflect activity efforts in policies and their operations. The DRR working group is now actively developing the EO risk toolkit to address this point. Kenny will speak in greater detail about this at a later time. The design of the work program mapping also included capacity development as a cross-cutting essential element for supporting both climate and DRR activities, as well as a vehicle for community empowerment to maximize the impact and utility of Earth observations. From preliminary analysis of initial survey responses, we see there's a significant amount of interest in sharing capacity development resources across the GEO work program. and a noted need to increase or improve collaborations across GEO work program elements that may not normally collaborate on resource sharing. Survey responses suggest that collaborating across some work program flagships, initiatives, and community activities could be increased in order to leverage capacity development resources that could be produced and shared by multiple work program components, especially in a GEO toolkit that has been co-developed with users and that includes use cases, and training resources. There is a substantial amount of capacity development resources already in the GEO community. How can we make sure that we know what is already available and make it findable and accessible before investing often limited funds or resources in developing new capacity development tools? We are already gaining important insights into optimal delivery methods, levels of competency, synergies with disaster risk reduction and climate, and other indicators of gaps and needs in capacity development throughout the GEO work program. From the analysis, for example, we see that drought, flood, and wildfire are all addressed by many GEO activities, as well as the highest reporting themes within capacity development resources. Ensuring effective communication, coordination, and collaboration among the diverse GEO activities engaged in capacity development for climate and disaster risk reduction areas will be an important element of future work to increase our impact. In summary, we can say that the overall feedback was very good. We have had 47 complete responses out of 64 activities in regional GEOs, which makes about 73%. And we note that some are still working on it and appreciate your contributions. The mapping overall was helpful to establish a baseline for our current work program. It is clear that the link to policy needs improvement and that GEO work program activities could improve collaboration with regional GEOs and among themselves. At the same time, the results will help drive the future activities of working groups, which should establish more cross-working group collaborations. Our next steps may include the mapping as intended, that the mapping is intended as an open-ended exercise. So we will encourage work program leads to respond or update their responses in the next few months. Then the working groups will need to continue the analysis of the mapping outcomes, and with that, deliver a report to the program board in early 2022, including possible ideas for calls for proposals, as well as concrete actions for work program activities. We will align with the program board timeline to make sure that this report makes an impact in the development of the next GEO work program. Thank you for listening. And on behalf of all of the working group co-chairs, we will be available to answer any questions you may have.